join yogis. And for those of you who are watching this later on the pre-recorded, a little pre-warm-up, and we just kind of at the tail end of this pre-warm-up, we just worked a little bit through the spine, and now we're doing a little on the shoulders. And then we can finish our pre-warm-up with a few neck rolls, gentle neck rolls, or just neck movements. They could be just a little bit side to side. You kind of roll up one side and then come down and go up the other. Or if the neck feels good, then you start to do the bigger movement. So if the neck's a little tight, depending how you slept, do smaller movements, gentler. When it feels good, you go bigger. And just kind of going back and forth, changing the direction. And then we come back to the center. And to finish the little pre-warm-up, let's find a nice deep breath in. And we reach up and open up. And as you exhale, a little fold. And I'm trying not to bend right away in my back. And then you come up, yogis, and you take a moment or two. And I welcome you all once again now to our official beginning of our class, our Spartan Power Fusion class this morning, Saturday morning. Welcome to you all. And in case you don't know, my name is Mike. All right, and I'll be guiding us through this class. Maybe we'll need a little water. I don't know. When I'm doing the class in the hot yoga studio, a lot of water. Maybe not so much here. We'll see. Let's begin today standing up. So take a moment. Teach yourselves to come to a standing position. Or if you're already there, you just stay there. And I'm going to step back a bit for the angles. So we'll take a moment or two and we'll just get ourselves a little bit grounded. I'm going to keep my feet out a little bit wide to begin with. Let the shoulders relax. Just a nice gentle mountain pose here. And we begin standing. I always begin on the ground, but we've only got 60 minutes. So we'll figure out what we can do with that, with the Spartan Power Fusion. If you haven't done this class before, we just we'll do a lot of joint work and muscle work. And we'll find a little flow as well in it, and we'll just kind of mix it around. We'll see how it goes. So listen to your body throughout our practice here in doing what feels good to it. Don't overload any of your joints. Let's begin again now with those breaths in the shoulders. All right, so I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to breathe out. I'm going to breathe in and breathe out. And I'm going to start to do a little roll. If you want to do that little body roll, just a little roll with the spine. If that feels good, you can do that. I mean, why not? Because you're home by yourself maybe, and you can be a little bit silly if you want. And if that feels good, so I'm going to inhale and open up the heart. And then I'm going to kind of body roll it down and work a little bit to the knees. So just having a little fun with this breath and like a cat cow. And then see if we can reverse it a little bit. Bring the knees out. Just kind of getting that breath flowing nicely and getting these shoulders, all right, going. All right, let's come back to the middle, shake it. Let's do a little more for the shoulders now. I'm going to reach the arms out. Do a lot with the shoulders today with these pushing motions. So we really want these shoulders nice and lubed out. So I'm going to bring the arms out. I'm going to bring them a little low. I'm going to start with those circles. Stay with that breath, nice full breaths, circling around, whatever pace feels good. Not going too high with the arms necessarily, because that can load it pretty quick. They can start to fatigue out. So I'm keeping the arms a little bit lower than the shoulders. Now I'm going to reverse my circles. And as I circle back, I try to work a little bit through the shoulder blades some more. So I'm reaching back a bit. All right, come down, take a moment, shake it around. Let's work down now a little bit into the elbows. So I'm going to just rotate. One arm's going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise. We do about 5 or 6 rotations, and then we'll flip it around. And I'm really trying to work into the elbow and into that forearm. The dog next door is really making some noise. I don't know if you guys probably can't hear that on the microphone. All right, shake it out a little bit for the wrists. So we're rolling the wrists, working them into. These are the open chain warm-up. So open chain means the hand's not fixed to the ground, so it can move very freely. The joint can move whichever way it likes. And then I'm gonna go the other way. And maybe a little bit of swaying as you go. And just a little bit of the fingers. If you've got a lot, if you're a little wristy, if your wrists need a little bit extra, you know, as we continue with the warm-ups, you can just do some pressure on the wrists, some gentle pressure points to get the wrists a little bit more warmed up if you like. All right, a little bit shaking around. All right, let's come back to the shoulders. Now I'm going to do one shoulder, so I'm going to isolate that movement so I get a little more focused on it. I'm going to work to the right side. I'm not sure if you see this as the right or not, but work through your right side, and then let's flip it to your left and do a little bounce there in the knees if you like. Get the knees a little warmed up. And now we do that little crossover. So we try to go from one side of the body and then you go to the other. So we're starting to get left side, right side of the brain going, coordinating with each other. And then can we flip it around a little bit? And if you're like me, you start to do little cracks in those joints. Okay, shaking out a bit. Now let's come a little bit in these hips and these knees. We'll come to the lower body a bit. So I'm going to go a little bit wide, not too far out. We can make adjustments. I'm a little bit open. And I'm going to start with just a little side to side. And what I'm going to do here is I'm working with the pressure on the knee. So I'm bringing a little bit of pressure. And then I'm working it down to the ankle and the Achilles. So I'm going to come down. So now we're in the closed chain because the foot's fixed. So I'm using the floor to kind of get a little leverage, and you hear my ankles, they tend to snap and pop a little bit here. So I'm just kind of working it back and forth. And if you want to go a little deeper, if you're ready, you can go a little wider. And if you want to curve it around a little bit, you can reach the hips back as you go from one side into the other side. So just a little back and forth. And just start to get these legs ready. Now I'm going to add a little balance to this, all right? So I'm going to bring the feet in a little bit. And now as I come over, I'm going to come up for a moment. I'm going to come up. You might have to bring it a little bit narrower because I just want to be a gentle little lifting. Getting the breath. Keeping the breath, let's say, flowing. Keeping this balance ready to wake up. And how about we add a little crossover, a little diagonal cross, tap. And I'm trying to get a little bit of a freeze frame. So I'm trying to pause a moment to get that balance. Ready. Keeping belly a little bit engaged here. Getting the hip flexors a little more warm by lifting that leg a little higher for some of you. Some of you really ready, you go elbow knee. You bring it up. Or just be gentle, just tap it out. All right, let's come back. And a little more twisting, gentle twisting for a few breaths here. Just let the arms swing a bit. And then we're going to add a twist in with the legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up a little bit. I'm going to do a step back lunge with a twist. So come up a little bit on your mat. You step back. I'm going to step my right foot back. I come into the lunge and then I add a little twist. I'm going to stay that one side, all right? I'm just going to do that 5 times. Good ones. 5. Ooh. If you're like me, that balance is still waking up. 4. Take your time with that. 3. So that little twist, I'm really keeping the belly tight. 2. Just a little lunge. 1. All right? Take a moment, we'll switch sides. First one through, you may need to get your positioning, your angles. That one doesn't count. Right now, 5, 4. I'm going to keep the belly tight and the twist comes up through the chest. 3, 2, 1. All right, nice. Shake it out a little bit. Let's stay with a little more leg warm up and a little more balance warm up. So I'm going to do the sundial. All right, so what I'm going to do is a little bit low. How about we work a little bit to the knees first? So I'm going to down. I'm going to do a little circling. I've got my feet grounding. Giving my breath a moment to come back. Circling it out. Trying to work that through the knees, but also right into the back of it. ankles a bit, and your Achilles, your shins. All right, let's come back. Take a moment if you need it for the breath. After the sundial, I'm going to come down a little bit low. So I'm in a little gentle chair, and then I'm going to reach my right leg out, and I'm going to try to tap around the hands of the clock with my toe. And hopefully you've got space in your room. As you start to tap back, you lean forward a bit to counter it. And then depending on how adventurous, if you try to get over to the 9 o'clock, you can reach out a little bit. And then you try to come back. So working in the balance, getting its left leg, a little wake up. And then come up. And nice for the left foot too. A lot of stuff happening by the ankle and the foot there to keep your balance. Let's switch sides. Find your breath. Get a little low, and then let that left foot, try to keep that left leg nice and straight as you work it around. And do what you can with that 9 o'clock. Some of you try to go over, and I guess we're over at 3 o'clock, and then you tap it back. Let's do that one more time. This time I'm going to do a little sweeping, if you'd like to try that. Breath, legs, give them a moment. And when you're ready for the sweeping, I'm going to just try to be real smooth. I'm just hovering it a little bit over the mat. And you may feel a little thing shifting in your left ankle as you move it. You might feel a little, I don't know, ligaments, tendons, bones. Okay, take a moment. And we'll finish it with the other side. A slow sweep maybe, or maybe a tap. A lot of your focus for this one. Okay, come back and take a breath. Let's stay up a little longer. Then we'll work our way down. A little for the hamstrings now, right? Hamstrings and core, and we'll work to add the shoulders all into this. But first, breath. All right. Then a little bit wide, and see if you can get a little internal rotation of the hips. Just a bit of an internal. It'll kind of bring your feet out. It'll bring your heels out a bit, kind of like a pigeon toe. And I'm just going to be gentle, and I'm going to do a little work by coming down about halfway, whatever halfway means to you, and you come up, right? So I'm trying to hold the spine in a nice line. I'm not going to say a back bend, but a nice heart opener. So I'm looking forward. I'm bringing hips back a bit. So I'm feeling that come in my hamstrings. I'm not going too deep. That's why I said halfway. And I'm just using the mobility, the movement to work into that. And some of you know this, if you like to stay down low a little bit longer, we could stay low for a moment and work. I can get down just to my fingertips. If I start to go much lower, I start to curve. Or some of us, we even have, you can even have a little prop here, part way up. Let's come back up from that. Give those legs a moment. Part two, we're going to add the shoulders into it. So for this part two, I'm not going to be as wide. My feet are about shoulders distance apart, or so you can adjust that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a side blow. I'm going to try to keep that spine nice and long. See if you can get about halfway down, about parallel. And the arms are going to come out here. Thumbs are going to point up. Ooh, and I'm just going to do a little pulsing from that, right? So I'm feeling that you might bend your knees a bit. You can bend the knees a bit. If you can't get to parallel the ground with those legs straight, you bend the knees and then you get a little lower. All right, and then I'm working that scapula retraction as I lift up the arms. That should feel good in the face. The shoulders will face mirror, and then all right, take a moment, come back up, give the back a moment. Now you have the understanding. Let's do it together. Let's do it for 5 good pulses, and the last pulse will hold it a little bit. So I'm going to come back into that position, work those hips back, feel that nice opening in the hamstrings, and the arms are going to come out, and I'm going to breathe in. And as I exhale, I'm going to let it release all the time, all right, all the way down. So I'm going to work those shoulder blades a little bit more. I'm going to breathe in. So you can get a little retraction of the shoulder blades. As you exhale, You get a little protraction, you can spread them out. I'm gonna breathe in, this is 3. I'm gonna breathe out. Keep that belly engaged a bit, breathe in. Breathe out. Now this last time, let's keep the arms holding out. Don't hold the breath now. Turn those thumbs up a bit and see if you can just reach up the thumbs. Open up those shoulders. Breathe, yogis. And breathe out. And then slowly, let's release and just hang a moment. I'm going to bend my knees. Give that back a few moments there. Nice. Let that back curve. Let that belly, if you can, get it to drape right over your thighs. And just hang. Let the head hang, neck relax. Hands can come to the elbows. We sway a little back and forth. And now let's slowly find that full body stretch. So I'm going to slowly draw myself up. You can walk your hands up your legs or let your arms dangle. And then as you come up, we get to inhale. And then we get a nice morning stretch. And then when you exhale, the side of the body, right? I'm going to go to the right side of the body first. I'm going to inhale, length in the middle. I'm going to come to the left side of my body. How about one more time? Breathe in the middle. And when you breathe out, however you like to do that side stretch. And when you're ready, breathe in. And breathe out. Come back to the middle, a gentle back bend. Heart reaches out. And as you exhale, we curl our way back down. We fold our way down. All right, we take a moment there and hang. And now let's slowly walk the hands forward a bit. And how about we come right into our tabletop? And maybe some of us are going to go to tabletop. Check, make sure I've got recording. We're going to go to tabletop, but we're not going to let the knees drop first if you want to try this one. Some of us are all the way tabletop. Some of us, our knees are just hovering. But take a moment, get your angles right. So your knees are right under your hips. Your hands are right under your shoulders. And either way, whether your knees are down or not, I'm going to do a little more for the shoulders. I'm going to do a few scapular shrugs. So I'm just drawing the shoulder blades a bit together, and I'm spreading them out. I'm not bending my elbows much at all. And if those knees are lifting, you're just doing a little extra work in your core, and you start to feel that in your quads. If your knees are down, you're really targeting everything on the shoulders. So shrugging them together, spreading them apart, together, apart. One more time. And then if you got your knees up, let them come down, child's pose. And how about going a little wide with those hips? So I'm going to bring my knees out wide, but my feet are together. And I'm going to slowly go. And you know your knees. So if your knees appreciate a few sliding movements forward and back first. Got a little pop. They can just a few extra movements can really help get the kneecaps ready for the compression that they need it. And then find your breath. Let's find some length in those arms. So I'm going to reach those arms out. I've got them out in a bit of a Y. I'm going to lengthen, and as I do that, I feel that stretch coming into the shoulders. And then I'm going to start to roll it around a bit. Circle around, maybe that's a better word. Circle it around. And I'm staying a little low here, and I'm working into the shoulders one at a time. Kind of dipping, and I'm working in the hips. And then I'm going to reverse my circle. Move away. All right, let's come back up. See how this feels pretty good. My knees are pretty good this morning. I'm going to bring them in. These little heroes. And then yogis, let's come to the spine a bit here. So I'm going to come back to the tabletop. This time the knees are down for sure. Hands are right under those shoulders. And then we just work a little bit to the spine. We start with the low back. We start with a little rolling through the low back. You're basically rolling through the hips to work in that low back. And then I'm going to try to sprinkle in the cat-cow. So I'm going to start to spiral that from the low back, and I'm going to work it up to the mid-spine, up in the shoulders, and then I'm going to try to do what I can with the neck. I'm just going to be smooth with this, and then try to flip it around, reverse it. And there's always just a few cat-cows. So maybe come into the center, and you inhale, that belly can drop, you can feel that come in the low back there. And as you exhale, beautiful big arch to the back. And you breathe in. You can look up, retract the shoulder blades a bit in the cow if you like. And when you exhale in the cat, you can protract, you can spread out the shoulder blades. Breathe in. And you breathe out. We breathe in. We breathe out. And we come to that neutral spine position. And from here, let's warm up the dog a bit. So I'm going to curl my toes under. And I'm going to press back with the heels a bit. So I really want to get a little stretch into the soles of the feet and the bottoms of the feet there. And then I'm going to lift those knees up again. Pause a moment or two. See how the wrists feel here. I've got my fingers a bit spread out, and I'm pressing my fingertips a little bit into the mat. So I'm just trying not to let all the load go right down in the wrist joint. And then the eyes of the elbows. See if you can rotate those arms a bit. And I'm rotating so the eyes of the elbows come more forward. And then you walk it, you step it, you reach, I guess. You lift the hips up to your down dog. And you walk it out a few moments. So these hamstrings of yours feeling pretty good after that warm up from the standing. So work it a little side to side. And let's work a little bit of the shoulders into this here too. So I'm going to go a little bit wide with this down dog. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to face you. I'm going to let my left knee drop just a bit. All right, so that way I can reach up with my right arm. So just a little, see if you can open up, put a little bit of pressure on that left wrist. So make sure your left shoulder is right over your wrist. And then I'm going to release it. And as I come back, I'm going to reach it through a bit, all right? And then I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to put my right hand down. I've got my right knee bent just a bit. I'm going to lift my left arm up. Try to get that right shoulder right over the right wrist. And then I'm going to reach through, a little stretch. Let's try that one more time. So I'm going to come the left hand down. You can bend that left knee a bit, reach up. And then see if you can't reach it through. And then switch sides. Left arm reaches up. Maybe you can look up. And then you reach it through. And then you come back. And then let's come back down onto the knees. And let's take a moment. Let's come a little bit into the hips here. So I'm going to sit on the ground and I bring my legs out. And while I'm here, I'm going to adjust the camera just a tad so we can see a little bit more of the floor. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Okay. Let's come a little bit into the hips here. So I'm going to begin us in a 90-90 position. So I've got my right leg is my lead leg. I've got that knee in the 90 degree. My back, left leg, I try to get that knee to be a 90. So it's a nice pinwheel, I guess you could call it, opening there. Try to keep you're trying to get your left hamstring to be parallel to the bottom of your right leg. And you're really trying to sit up nice and tall if you can. You start to feel that come into that left hip a bit there, outside the hip in there. Now what I'm going to work with to begin with, I'm going to be a little gentle with this. Let's just start with a little back and forth. So I'm going to just sweep it, the old hip switch, and I'm going to switch it. So as you switch it, if you're new to this, the first few times you may start to move your feet all around. But if you watch me, I'm not really moving, I'm pivoting on the heels. And I do that. And I'm leaning back. It's a lot gentler. My foot slides a bit. I'm leaning back. Ooh. And if the hips are really tight, you may have to not be so open. You may have to be a little bit, you have to be like your angles, you change the angles a little bit. And some of you are old hat at this, let's add in a little reach. And if you're in this big open position, when you reach, you feel that stretch coming into your glute, the one that's on the ground. So I'm stretching a little bit forward, reaching out. Reaching out. Let's do it one more time each side. So I'm going to do a little reach to the left side, and then I reach to my right side. And now I come back, and I'm going to target this left side. My left side is my one behind. I'm going to target that by lifting it and a little sweeping it, and then I'm going to settle the hips. So I'm just going to do a few of these. So I'm going to try to keep this leg lifting the whole time, really keeping that glute engaged. Really good for the glute here, the outside of the hip. And I'm just trying to have a nice controlled movement here. One more time. And then I'm going to bring it back in position. And now I'm going to keep it on the ground. This one can get a little crampy. Is okay. What I'm going to try to do is keep the knee in the ground, and I'm going to just try to lift that left foot up. And I've got to lean forward a bit to initiate it. And then what I have to do is I'm going to try and hold it up. And if you're new to this, it can take a while. So, but how do you lift that foot? How do you get it up a bit? As you get better at it, as the joints start to adjust and they figure this out, you get a little stronger maybe, you start to get a little bit more vertical. And let's just try to hold that, squeeze that left glute there. If you can fire that glute and that hip, let's hold there for 5, count for 5, for 4, good breathing. Maybe a little higher, 3, 2, and 1. All right, release that down. All right, take a moment. Let's finish this left side up by bringing it forward, keeping it up. So get the hips nice and square. Sit bones are grounded. Point that toe out, and I'm just going to do a little lifting up. I'm using my core. I'm using my left hip flexion. Lift that leg up. Now you could bend the knee. I don't know if that's going to be a little bit easy or not. Try to find a modification. You could also push the hands down a bit. I'm trying not to lean back too far. I'm going to do it for 5 more. 4 more, 3, 2, 1. All right, nice. Let's switch lead legs. All right, so now let your left leg lead you. Take a moment. Right leg's back. Now we begin with just a little bit of the sweeping. All right, just to kind of warm it up a bit. And I'm leaning way over. As I do that, I lean over to the left. And when I sweep that leg back, I try to get it way back. Reach it back, okay? 4. If you want to challenge it, 3, then you don't lean forward. You don't use your arms for leverage. 2. 1. I'm going to bring it back, settle it in place. Take a moment or 2. Now remember what we're going to try to do here is we're going to keep the knee down. We want to just lift the foot up. And we want to get right inside here now, outside hip and glute area. And, one side isn't always the same. This is harder side for me to do. I have to lean a little bit forward. I have to get a little bit of leverage. I want to help it, but I can't reach that. So really start to come a little more to vertical if you can. If that it's getting a little bit crampy in there, try to just work with that. Just notice your right glute. It's probably it's not firm right now. You may need to tighten it up a little bit to help enlist it in this effort of lifting your foot up. And then now let's hold it for 5 breaths. Maybe not 5 breaths, but slow count 4. We do 3. Maybe a little higher. Find it for 2. And then 1. All right, you release that side. We'll sweep the leg to the front. We'll settle the sit bones down. That leg's right up in the air, hopefully. I guess you could help it. You can modify it by using your hands. if it's just way too much on the hip flexor. So pointed toe, so you could, that would be a bad modification. Or just try to work the core. Focus the mind right in that space, right? For 5, for 4, for 3, 2, for 1. Okay, take a moment. Let's come to a nice butterfly, open butterfly position. Work it a little bit back and forth. Let's give these hips a moment or two. Let's come back just the shoulders, all right? The shoulders, a little bit of the upper body. So I'm going to bring this into a reverse tabletop, and we'll start to warm up this motion. These hip ups, if you will. So I'm going to start with my hands a little bit open. So my fingers are out to an angle. Some of you can get your fingers to point right back towards the back of your mat. You can do that. Open them up a bit, depends on your shoulders. Now, the first thing I want to do for my reverse tabletop is I want to lengthen to the spine. I want to open a bit to the heart. And that can feel really good. And you can just stay right here, maybe just lift a tiny bit, but get a nice long spine and open heart up. And then when you're ready, you start to come up. And if you got I can see myself, so I can make a little adjustment so I get nice angles with my wrists under my shoulders, my knees right over my ankles. And then I try to see if I can just get that tabletop to be a little more parallel. Squeeze the glutes, look up, breathe, yogis, breathe into your belly, breathe out. And let's lower it down. Take a moment, the elbows and the wrists, may appreciate a little shake. Let's find that one again. Long spine, open heart, squeezing the glutes, coming up, and breathing in, breathing out. We breathe in, we breathe out. Let's lower it down, take a moment. One more time. Last time, if you want, maybe reverse plank. Is it a little bit harder? Probably a little harder, or just stay with that. So you may have to adjust the hands a little bit. Reverse plank. For me, the reverse plank gets a little bit more of those hamstrings. And I'm trying to plank out my legs all the way extended. So you get your knees bending. And you breathe. Engage the glutes, feel the back, engage that low back. Keep that back strong as you open the heart up. And you breathe. And then you come down from that. You take a moment, work it a little bit out to the wrists. We slowly get these wrists ready, right? All right, let's come back into the hips. All right, part 2 for these hips. For part 2, we're going to do a little bit more with the hip flexors and a little bit of control. So what I'm going to do is come into a straddle position. All right, so I'm going to open up to the camera. That's okay. All right, I'm going to go a little wide. I'm working those inner hamstrings. And then what I'm going to do for this hip flexors, we'll see how wide we can stay. I'm going to try to lift this foot up, this leg, and slowly bring it over, and then slowly bring it back. All right, and I'm like you can see me, I'm leaning back a bit. You lean back a little bit, you start that way. You may have to, and then you try to come more and more vertical. You do what you can with that one. All right, for 3, keeping that leg nice and straight, keeping that quad engaged. I lost my count. Is that 2? I don't know. Wait, one more time. All right, right side, give it a moment. Maybe it needs a little massage, a little rub. And we'll see how this left side goes. We're going to lift it and bring it over. And draw it back. We try to be smooth. Right? We're trying to be pretty smooth with that movement. I'm not trying to fling it around. How about 3, 2. One more, I think, is about balanced out. Let's do one on the left side. All right, give that a moment. Wrists roll out a little bit. Hopefully wrists are ready for a little more pressure. We'll come back to that reverse tabletop, but we'll make it 3 lived now. So it'll be like a tripod. Nice shoulder sweep. So I'm going to start with my right side. I'll start my left side because I'm right in the mirror, or in the camera. So you want to come up, take a moment. I'm gonna get that left shoulder right over the wrist. So I'm looking down, and I'm gonna reach up with those hips. And if the things are feeling good through that left shoulder, you can let that right arm maybe reach up. Some of you can let it move around. If you let that right arm sweep, you can get a little stretch in the right shoulder if that feels okay. I'm gonna come back. I'm not gonna stay too long in that. I'm gonna switch sides. So my right hand drops. Try to lift those hips up. Try to open that heart up. And then if things are feeling good, then let that left arm sweep around a bit. All right, coming back, let's try that again. If you don't get that heart to open up enough, if you just go part way, just a little bit off the ground, you start to jam in the shoulder. I really want to get that open first, and then see if I can sweep it around a bit. That sweeping is nice for the right shoulder, the shoulder that's sweeping. Get a little stretch because the arm just kind of hangs. All right, on one more side here. And then we come back. We'll take a moment. And yogis, let's spin ourselves around. We'll come back onto our knees. And we'll work into our little, some lunging and some twists. This is known as the world's greatest stretch, what they call this one. So what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to start you yogis in your plank pose. So now forget the reverse plank, just a regular plank. Take a moment or two, get the hands here lined up, wrists under the shoulders, fingers, a little spread out. Breathing nice. Deep breaths in your belly, pressing the hands into the mat, shoulders coming away from the mat. Just take a moment or two, right? Fire up that core, squeeze those glutes. The idea for me, my kind of philosophy on this class is just to keep kind of working into an area, then we step back away from it, we come back to it, we step back. So we're kind of going back and forth into the different areas of the body, the muscles, without ever really hitting them too hard at one time. And then maybe once in a while we'll hit them harder, right? So this is starting to hit my shoulders a bit. My core is fired up, starting to get a little bit warmer. Now let's add in a little stretch to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to step my left foot up, and I'm going to help it a little bit. I'm going to get a wide open there. And what I'm going to do is add a little twist to this. So without lifting the hips much, see if you can just lift the left arm up and twist up. All right, the twisting part usually is easier. The external rotation can be a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to bring my left arm down, and then I'm going to reach my right arm up. And I'm looking down as I do that. And I'm going to come back with that one. And I'm going to do that left again. I'm going to reach up. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and bring my left elbow down towards my right wrist a little bit. So I'm going to do a little twist, and I'm going to reach it back up. Can we do that again? So I'm going to come down towards the ground, work a little bit in the left hip there, and then reach up. Nice. All right, I'm going to step it back. Take a moment, come on the knees. Give the shoulders a moment, the wrists. Let's check it out a little bit. We'll switch sides. I'll look at the second side coming right at you, see how that angle looks. So that when we step the left foot up, now we're going to step the right foot up. So hop it out a bit. I'm trying to come right up, even with the hands. Got that hip a bit open. I'm going to start with a twist. So with a nice twist, belly's engaged, left heel reaching back. And as you twist up, feel your right foot press a little bit in the mat. Reach up. Then we'll come down to the external rotation. So right hand's down. Try not to lift the hips too much. Keep your gaze down, reach up. I'm looking down. Some of you can look up. Maybe you can try that. Open that right hip. Come down. Now we'll add that little twisty movement. So I'm going to bring my right arm up. I'm going to breathe in. And as I exhale, I'm going to bring my right elbow down a little bit. Go into that twist. I'm going to breathe in not too deep. And when I exhale, coming down into that. And I'm going to breathe in. And then yogis, I'm going to come down and step back. And I'm going to hold you here. Plank. We're going to slow lower, right? Right down to the mat. Slowly, trying to keep those elbows pretty tight. Into the body, coming right through chaturanga. Down to the ground. Arms are all wide. We know this is a nice little scorpion. Take a breath. right arm, I'm gonna start my right arm out, my left leg lifts. Ooh, and maybe you get a little crack. Take a moment. Switch sides when you like. Left arm out. My left arm is perpendicular from the mat. I bend the right knee, I lift it. Take your time. Maybe the foot dangles. Maybe you touch it to the ground. And you switch sides when you're ready. Find that breath, all right? Don't forget about your breathing. Nice place here to recapture that breath. And we'll switch. Left side. And now we'll come back. Now we're going to use these shoulders, this upper body. That we'll do a few of our push-ups, army style push-ups here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the knees to start it gentle. So I've got my hands in a nice push-up position, elbows tucked in. I've got my feet lifted just so you can see that. I'm going to come sideways to begin. So when you come up, don't be coming up, try to keep everything in one line, right? So your knees need to be back a little bit. And then you come down, slowly kind of keep those elbows pretty tucked in. To make this an army push-up, what we're going to do is when we come down, we're going to bring the arms out. All right, boom. Then we come back, and then we push up. You come down, and you extend out. Beautiful, all right? And you come up, you come down, and pay attention to the elbows. Don't let them flare out too much. Try to keep them pretty tight, maybe about a 45-degree angle. See if you can draw the shoulder blades apart at the top, protract them. And as you start to come down, you do a little retraction of the shoulder blades and you release it out, all right? Take a moment. I'm going to switch. I'm going to do full push-ups here for the last 5 or so. You stay with the knees if you'd like. A nice modification is use the knees on the way up. I'll do the modifications. Try that. Let's come back to that position. Lift the knees, you come up with your knees, and then when you get there, you come to your full plank, and you lower down. And then give those arms a big little, nice to the shoulder, right? So that's a modification. Use knees to come up or go. If you're ready, full. We do 5 good ones. Coming down either way. Arms come out. That's 5. Squeeze that belly as you come up. Lower down, arms come out, that's 4. Release the feet there. Coming up, a little protraction of the shoulder blades, retraction as you come down, arms come out. 3. You could lift the legs, I guess, too. Why not? Shoulders together, coming up, beautiful protraction. Coming down. 2, maybe everything lifts. Can we do a couple bonus ones? If you like a couple bonus ones, do a few bonus. If you want to take a little pause, maybe go back to that scorpion. The bonus round, we're on 5 more if you'd like it. 5, maybe a little bit of burn we get for 4, but we don't overdo it. For 3, good form. 2, I'm definitely feeling that. And last time. And then, yogis, wherever you are, let's get ourselves back to child's pose. So press yourself up if you'd like. After all those push-ups, shoulders will appreciate a little stretch. So come on back. Maybe you go knees out, feet together. Dip into that. Find your breath. A lot of upper body there. So let's find a little bit for the lower body. All right, let's find a little bit of a little flow. Right? We find a few poses here. We move now a bit more. So we slowly come back up. Give those shoulders and wrists a moment or two. And let's come to our down dog. So coming through your tabletop. Back to that tabletop. Curling your toes under. Shoot back to your down dog. We look up to the hands. You step up. Well, either foot steps first, the other follows. We inhale halfway up. Feel the hamstrings. You breathe out and you fold down. Let's rise all the way up. And then when you exhale, let the hands come to the heart. Take a moment, all right? Give the blood pressure a chance to adjust. Give your breath a moment. I'm going to change the angle a bit here in the camera. Just a tad. And we're back to breathing. Back to the mountain. We come to the top. And we breathe in. We start to flow a bit. Reach up, a back bender if you like. And then when you exhale, you release. If you're folding from the hips, you can bend the knees. Half flat back. You inhale halfway, flatten the back out. And as you exhale, we plant those hands. We step it back to the plank pose and knees lower. Maybe you hover, chaturanga. Maybe you go to your belly. When you breathe in, sweep that up dog. And when you breathe out, maybe you pause, and if you're ready, a push-up or two. Remember, you can use your knees. Maybe 3 push-ups. Ooh, to down dog. Take a breath. Right, let's start with the right side. Let's start with a lunge. So I'm going to inhale my right leg up, open up that hip there, and then as I exhale, I step it all the way up. I try to step it between my hands to help it out, and then I take a moment to get my balance. All right, reach back with that left heel, reach the heart forward, beautiful line to the body. Maybe I'm close to a 90-degree angle on my right knee, maybe. And then we're going to come up slowly to that crescent warrior. I'm trying not to lift the hips. Reaching up. I'm feeling that coming to my left hip there. I'm trying to keep that left leg straight, but you can always bend your left knee. You can even come to the ground if you'd like, especially if your low back doesn't like this. And I'm trying to get those shoulders nice and open. So I'm going to go wide with the arms. Shoulder blades a little bit. Down. Breathe into the belly. And I'm going to open to warrior 2. That feels good to me. So I'm going to open those hips up. My back foot went to parallel to the mat. My front foot's nice and perpendicular. A little bit low there. Shoulders relaxed. But the arms they're not drooping. Nice and parallel. And I'm just looking over my front finger. And I'm breathing, yogis. Breathe into the belly and strengthen the leg. Strong leg. Especially that front leg can be a little pressing in the mat. Breathe in here. And how about a little side angle? So I'm going to gently press into my thigh, or if you want to go full side angle, go a little lower. Don't try not to let your right elbow go much below your right knee. So it may not touch, your fingers may not touch the ground. If you really want them to touch, instead of going like this and touching the ground, you got to go a little bit lower in those hips. You have to go a little wider. And then you might be able to get closer and really reach up and maybe look up. And big breaths in your belly. Strong. You feel that in your right leg. Breathe in. Ooh. Breathe out. And then can we slowly come into reverse archer? So I'm going to straighten my leg so that quad gets a moment. I got to bring my leg back leg in a little bit. So it's like a reverse warrior. But my legs are straight and I'm reaching up. You can grab this. Now, for me, just reaching up feels right. Some of you can reach back a little bit, but I don't want to feel too much in my low back. I want to feel the right side open. I don't want to feel the left side crunching in. And breathe. And then I'm going to release it. And I'm going to windmill it down. All right. And I'm going to pause you into that low firefly twist, that low lunge. I came off my heel now. I twisted again. Now you're pretty warmed up. If you want to go deep in your twist, pressing the right foot down. So right leg's engaged also. It's not all the left shoulder. Belly's pulled in. And I start to let my right thumb reach back a bit. Try to imagine your right shoulder is away from your ear. And then you release, and let's finish this side with a side plank. So I'm going to let my right leg go back, and I'm going to open up. So my right arm's down, my right shoulder right on my right wrist. That right knee could drop to the ground to modify, or left leg floats up. For some of us, you breathe in, then why not crunch it? Right elbow the knee. Work a little bit on the left side of the body. Keep that right shoulder, though, feeling stable, all right? Keep that right wrist feeling good. If it's not feeling right, don't add a little extra pressure onto it. That's 4. One more time. Ooh, yogis, that's beautiful. 5, come back. Now I'm gonna work the left side a moment here. Bear with me, yogis. Before I flow down, I'm gonna step my right foot back up. I'm gonna go into a big lizard. I'm gonna face you for this. So I'm gonna step my right leg up. I'm gonna open that hip up. Can't quite see the foot, but I've got that foot way open. It's back a little bit. And I'm really distributing the load evenly with the right leg and the left shoulder. And my right arm's free. Now what I'm gonna do, see if you can do a little push up there. And I'm using my right foot, my right leg to push up. It's not all on the left side. So you're kind of getting a little taste of a one-arm push-up if you want to try that, but you're really working a lot of that right hip and glute area. Feeling it come in. Get that right leg to work. Going low in there, coming up. Core's engaged. How about one more time? That'll be 6, I believe. Oh, that's good, yogis. All right, now bring the hand back. Step it back and drop down all the way to the ground or hover. Breathe in, sweep up. And as you breathe out, maybe 3 push-ups. You could use your knees. 2, 1. All right, down dog. Take a breath. I flipped around. You don't have to flip around. Left side. We're going to inhale left leg up. We're going to open that hip. And as you exhale, you step up between your hands. You help it out a bit. You take a moment and maybe you take a breath. You can take a break by just kind of putting your knees on your lead leg there. Find that breath again. Find that line, right heel reaching back, heart reaching out. We're going to come to crescent when you're ready. Now try to press down with that left foot. So left leg's engaged. Start to open up, trying to lift the hips too high. If you can avoid that, see how it feels. It actually feel good. If it doesn't feel good, especially your low back, you bend that knee a bit there if you need to, because that helps. Try to open that heart up a bit. Draw the shoulder blades down a bit. Breathing. And then we're opening up. I'm working on that exhale. I'm trying to groan so much. I'm always going, I gotta just breathe. So I open it up, go a little bit lower. My back foot's parallel, front foot's perpendicular. I'm feeling that right across the pelvic space. I'm watching my left knee. I'm trying to get it to track down the middle of my foot, maybe a little bit out to the outside of the little toe even, towards that direction. Shoulders relaxed, now arms just floating out. And strong left leg, strong lead leg. Work that leg. We're working on the strength here without a lot of movement, just the isometric work. Pressing the foot, engaging it, breathing. Always breathing, right hand we do a little side angle. Gentle if you want. If you're doing the rest on the thigh, you're not like dumping all your light weight into that. It's just a light touch. Right? Some people won't bend that elbow so they won't rest. They'll just press a little bit into the leg. Reach up, or that full side angle. Remember, try not to let your left elbow go much below your knee so that left hand may dangle a little bit off the ground. It's okay. If you can look up, that feels okay in the neck. Now, beautiful breathing here. Breath into your belly. And breathe out. You breathe in. We breathe out. And then reverse archer or reverse warrior if you want. I'm going to straighten that leg so the quad gets a moment. I'm going to reach up. You can grab that wrist and a little bit back. Find just the right amount. It feels good to the left side, to the left ribs. I'm going to release. I'm going to windmill it down. And I'm going to come into that low lunge twist, that firefly twist. I changed to my right. I brought my right heel off the ground. I'm pressing down my left foot. My left leg's engaged, and then I twist it. So all my weight's then on my right shoulder. And I'm looking up. I'm keeping the belly engaged. And if you want to go a little deeper, if you like, feels okay. Left thumb starts to reach back a bit. Left shoulder's away from the ear and the neck. And then I'm going to release that twist. And I'm going to come into that side plank. Take your time. Left shoulder right over that wrist. Open up that heart of yours. Look up maybe. And maybe you bring your left knee down. Maybe you float your right leg up. And if you want to do a little crunching, just to amuse yourself. Crunch it in, push it out, maybe pull weight from the wall like a cable. If you want to do that for 3, oof, keep your balance. 4, one more time. For 5, come back to that plank, take a breath. I'm gonna switch to the front again. Now I'm gonna step the left leg up. Now remember, we're gonna go open that lizard kind of opening. So I've got my left foot way opened up, big angle there. Open up right to the hip there, my right hand. So I'm not putting all my weight to the right side. I'm keeping that left leg very active to help me. And I'm gonna see if I can't do a little taste of a one-arm push-up. I guess to get more and more progress, you start to bring your left foot further back. I haven't tried that yet. I've just been doing this one. Feels good. Get a little stretch. It kind of gives you the illusion like you're really strong in that arm. But the left leg is doing a lot of work. One more time. That's 6. Ooh. Now you bring the hand back. Feet back. Got 4 points on the ground. We drop. We breathe in. And you breathe out. And I'm skipping the push-ups. Some of you are adding push-ups in. I'm taking a breath. I think it's time for one more. For a warrior one, yogis. How about a warrior one? Inhale, right leg up. Exhale it through. All right, come. Bring that back leg in a little bit. Come up to your warrior one. And breathe. Take a moment here. I brought us in warrior one because I want to finish with a little pyramid stretch. It's nice. It's nice to come into pyramid from the warrior one. But first, breathe. That back leg nice and long and straight. The back of the left foot. The side, I guess you'd say, the side of the left foot. Really grounding. Front leg nice and strong. And breathing. Let that breath settle. Now for that right hamstring, that pyramid stretch. Love the stretch. I'm going to straighten the leg. I'm going to bring my back leg in a little bit closer even. I'm going to really square these hips up. And then the hands can come back. Some of you, if your shoulders are open, you can find a reverse prayer. With the hands, some of us, we can grab elbows if you like, or just let the arms hang out. I'm going to breathe in, little back bend, take your time. Now, as you exhale, you're starting to lower. I'm not trying to keep my spine long. Now, what I'm going to do is keep that lead leg straight. I'm going to draw that right hip back just a tad. Drawing it back kind of helps bring your left hip forward. So I'm keeping the hip square. Now, if you get that reverse prayer, you're doing what you can. Some of us, we let the hands drop. We go a little lower now. Now, really keep that right foot very active, pressing in the mat. Take your time. That right hamstring is pretty intense. That right knee, maybe a micro bend to it if you need it. Feel that? If you want to go a little deeper, you kind of vacuum in your low belly there. And that helps you get a little longer in the spine. Drop it. Breathe now. Big breaths, deep breaths. Into the belly. Breathe out. We breathe in. Ooh, we breathe out. And as you breathe in, let's come back and let's just pivot to the other side. Take a moment, come back to the warrior one first. Now my left leg's leading me. My right leg, that hamstring feels good now. Really reaching it back. I'm getting into the side, the right foot, the ankle, grounding. I'm going to come up. I'm going to really breathe and ground. So it's almost like the way I envision it, I'm breathing right up through the legs. I'm bringing the breath right up to the ground. And I breathe out. Breathing in. And I'm breathing out. And then I'm going to finish this pyramid on the left side. I'm going to bring my back leg in just a bit. Heels about in one line there. Hips nice and square. Hands, arms can be back if the shoulders are like that. It's a nice stretch for the shoulders if you can do that. And then you take your time. You're coming down. Try to draw that left hip back a bit. Right hip forward. Maybe the hands released. And just because it feels good, I start to go a little lower. I lose a little bit of that length in my spine. I start to curve just a bit, but I'm keeping my belly a little bit, that low belly engaged. Keeping my left foot very active. Pressing down on the mat, and I'm breathing into the belly. And I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. And then I'm going to slowly come back up. Ooh, and I'm going to breathe in. And as I breathe out, I'm just going to pivot halfway, facing you. You yogis can face me. Take a moment, bring your feet together. We finish right where we began. We finish standing. And we just take a moment and we breathe and just work a little bit through everything we touched on today. A lot in the shoulders. Roll the shoulders around a bit. Neck relaxed. A lot of pressure on these wrists of ours. Rolling those out a bit. Some working to the spine, some twisting today. So a little gentle back and forth in the twist. Get a lot of these hips and hip flexors. Really wouldn't mind another half hour with you yogis. Usually I do in 90 minutes. I'm used to 90 minutes, but 60 minutes is Saturday morning. Feels good. Knees, ankles. Yogis, my friends, hopefully you're feeling energized, you're feeling vibrant. And if you're near a window, wherever you are, you can see the sun, I hope. Beautiful morning here. So take a moment, finish how you like. Maybe finish with your seated cross-legged. Maybe finish with Shavasana, or just finish with stepping out to the kitchen, maybe having a cup of tea or coffee, however you like. Take a few more moments. Enjoy the rest of this day and enjoy your body and your breathing. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Namaste. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to type away a bit here. I won't close it for a moment.